this video, we're going to be covering the exact three-step biblical framework for you to lose 10 to 30 pounds or more and keep it off for good. And what we're going to be revealing is the exact playbook that we use for all of the guys who are inside of defaultkings.com. All the guys who are getting results like what you see here on defaultkings.com. If you haven't seen this before, the reason I'm showing this to you is because I want you to understand the magnitude of what I'm about to reveal. We're going to be holding back no punches, going into the exact biblical framework to change your default action so that you can finally not just lose the fat, but actually keep it off by becoming consistent. And so without further ado, let's get right into it. If you don't know me yet, I'm Gabe Plugas. I'm the founder of defaultkings.com. And this is not going to be keto or fasting. This is not going to involve quick fixes or hyper restrictive diets that you can't stick to. This will not involve wasting hours on intense cardio. It won't involve unsustainable workout routines or crazy challenges. And it is going to involve eating foods you love, building lean muscle, building strength, building functional strength and athleticism, preventing pain and injury. It's going to involve learning the biblical principles of consistency and behavior change. And it will involve creating new healthy default actions so that the change lasts for life. For example, there's one of my clients, Mike Neville, 50 years old, lost 36.2 pounds in about 7 months. This is him at one of our retreats with us. This is him crushing a bunch of 20, 30, and 40-something-year-old dudes in a sit-up challenge, his weight loss graph. Him crushing a sub-30-minute 5K, crushing a 20-something-year-old guy in jiu-jitsu. Who is this for? This is for Christian men, Christian entrepreneurs, Christian business owners, Christian high-level professionals, and it's for you, especially, particularly, if you understand what we believe and are in alignment with what we believe. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't agree with what I believe, I'm not saying that if you're not a Christian, you can't join Default Kings. And I'm not saying at all that this won't work for you if you're not Christian. I get that joke on the Instagrams and the Twitter sometimes, like, hey, does this work for me if I'm Muslim? Here's why we actually believe that it does. It's because we believe that the Bible, the Word of God, is the ultimate authority on human behavior change. We also believe that God is king of the universe. And so therefore, everything in the universe must fall under his design for the universe. Okay, so whether you're Christian or not, this will work for you. Now, of course, we're not ashamed, and there's no secret that we are Christians inside Default Kings. But we believe that the Bible is the ultimate authority on human behavior change. We also believe that it's your duty as a man to be as healthy as you can be, both physically and mentally, for yourself, for your loved ones, and it's important for you to take care of your body to honor the temple of God. We believe that honoring the temple of God glorifies God. It's also a command that he gives us. We'll get into that in a second here, though. We also believe that the fastest and easiest way to success in every area of life is through mentorship, coaching, and accountability from other men. That's why the Bible says that victory is found in a council of many trusted advisors. And we believe that more years on this earth and a fit and healthy body is worth more than money in the bank. And we also believe that you reap what you sow. Now, how is this different than anything you've tried before? Because most likely you've tried plenty of other things to lose the weight and tried to keep it off, but none of these things actually stuck long-term, which is a problem because you don't lose the weight with the intention of gaining it back. So again, this isn't going to be keto. It's not going to involve a ton of cardio. It's not going to be fasting. It's not going to involve meal plans. It's not going to be us being nutritionists or life coaches or personal trainers, or this isn't going to be a group fitness class. This isn't going to be any crazy challenge like Weight Watchers, 75 Hard, or any of these other fads that pop up from time to time. This is none of those things. Okay, what this is something you're probably actually already a little bit aware of. You're probably already aware of the scandal in the fitness industry. Okay, and if you haven't been made aware of this until now, then now you're aware of it. So you can't say that nobody warned you. But there is a scandal currently going on in the fitness industry. And to explain what this is, I'll tell you a story. I'll paint a picture. So I watched my father struggle with his weight for years, growing up all throughout my childhood. He tried Weight Watchers. He tried keto. He tried paleo. He tried intermittent fasting. And although he'd lose some weight, these were never sustainable and he would always gain the fat back. And because he could never find long-term success, he eventually gave up on weight loss, ballooned up over 270 pounds, and was hospitalized 16 times in 1 year. Okay, because of this, he fell into a depression and ended up attempting suicide because he said, as a man, when you don't take care of yourself, everything else crumbles. Now, after witnessing this at 16 years old, I realized that it was my God-given mission to help men achieve sustainable fat loss. So, unfortunately, if you're watching this video, it's likely that you got caught up in this scandal that's going on in the fitness industry. These short-sighted results, these short-sighted solutions that are optimized for capitalizing on the newest fad, and honestly, the industry's ignorance with zero outlook for long-term client success. They have built a system that makes you dependent on them. That way you keep coming back and spending more money with them instead of helping you fix the real problem so you never need them again, because that wouldn't be good for their businesses. Okay, so just so that you can conceptualize what I'm talking about here, you can see that it's no secret that people are losing weight on these fad diets and losing weight on these quick fixes and losing weight with things like personal training, but they're gaining it back. Okay, National Institute of Health .gov has this meta-analysis of 29 long-term weight loss studies, where more than half of the weight lost was regained within 2 years. And by 5 years, more than 80% of the weight lost was regained. Okay, Northwestern Medicine does a study. As many as 90% of people who have lost a considerable amount of weight will gain it back. Okay, 90% of people who have lost a considerable amount of weight will gain it back. And there's more studies that you can look into. And this is why you fall off the wagon. This is why you always end up back where you started. So what is the real problem? The real problem is your default actions. Your default actions are the subconscious habits that you cannot stop doing, even though you know it's only making the situation worse. It's these behaviors, these habits that you default to when you're tired, bored, stressed. Sometimes you default to them mindlessly. Sometimes you just default to them because circumstances changed, or, business got really busy, or, your career was taking off in this direction, or, you got married, or you have a kid on the way, or something changed, or yada, 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 or COVID, or whatever it may be. These habits, these default actions that you revert to. Okay, this is a very similar idea to what Paul is talking about in Romans. Even though Paul is alive in Christ, there's a part of his sinful human nature that continues to default to the actions that he doesn't want to do. And so in Romans 7:15-24, it says, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do. Think about that in relation to your health and fitness. For what I want to do, I want to work out, I want to eat healthy, I want to be a better role model to my kids of what it means to take care of yourself. But what I hate, plopping on the couch, skipping the gym, hitting snooze, eating a bag of chips when I know I shouldn't be eating it. But what I hate, I do. Okay, Paul also says, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do. But the evil I do not want to do, this I keep doing. All right, so default actions are not just no big deal. That habit that you have at the end of the night is not just no big deal, because that over time has gotten you to the point at which you're watching this video, right? These are actually part of the sinful part of our human nature. Even the Apostle Paul is talking about struggling with this. Now, he makes a point here, which I'm going to dive into deeper, and it's going to foreshadow the solution. But he says that now if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who do it. What? It's no longer I who do it, but it is the sin living in me that does it. Okay, so I'll dive into that in a second here. Now, this is the same exact thing that's going on in your health and fitness. Okay, you're doing a bunch of stuff that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you literally can't help it because it's a part of your sinful human nature. Okay, you're mindlessly snacking throughout the day. You're overeating. You're having that extra portion when you know you shouldn't. You're drinking too much alcohol. You're binging on the kids' junk food. You're late night snacking. You're skipping workouts. You're plopping on the couch after work. And by the end of this video, you will know the exact steps that it takes to change your default actions and finally start fixing the real problem. Now, you might be asking at this point, is this going to be true? You probably think it's impossible to lose the amount of weight that you want to lose without gaining it back, especially at the rate that you're seeing it with the guys inside Default Kings. You probably think that the only way to do that is with some, extreme short-sighted solution that doesn't stick. And that's what Drew thought before he lost 119 pounds. And he hit that 100-pound milestone within the first 6 months. And he's kept this off for 17 months since. And yes, we have developed a friendship over the course of this process. Here's us on a yacht in Croatia, where he's talking about how he was 90 pounds heavier when he first met us. That's also what Riz thought before he lost 24 pounds and dropped 3 pant sizes in 12 weeks with a newborn on the way while running his financial planning practice, also setting new PRs for 265 pound deadlift, 320 pound hack squat. I can keep going. But here's him showing what that difference looks like. And it's also what Nick thought before he lost 35 pounds, 35.4 pounds in about 5 months, where he's talking about the new personal bests that he's setting in each workout week to week, where he reached his lowest weight in over 10 years. He said, new low weight this week, and purchased a medium shirt, something I haven't worn comfortably in over 13 years. Have a great weekend, guys. Now, how do they do this? Here's a graphic to paint the process. Obviously, this is a general graphic. We're going to get into the specifics here, but the process of this starts with our identities, our beliefs, and our thoughts. Okay, that is what determines our default actions. That's what determines the behaviors that you default to, and that's what creates reality, right? Like, let's start here. The first step to changing these things is going to be to change your identity. Okay, to change your identity. Now, when I say change your identity, I'm going to give you a quick personal testimony. Okay, when I lived in lust, which was really my unhealthy default actions that I was struggling with, even though I was a Christian and I was honoring God in other areas of my life, the reason I still struggle with lust is because I hadn't adopted the identity that God gave me in this area of life. Okay, I believed the identity that I just lack self-control and discipline in this one area of life, even though God has made me successful in others. Okay, now, by no means am I saying that I'm perfect. I'm still just as vulnerable to attacks from the enemy as anyone, but I am no longer slave to those sins. I'm no longer living in those sins because I adopted the identity that Christ gives me in this area of life. And maybe you can relate to this. Okay, Romans 6:6 talks about how we can change these identities, our identity, and how that in and of itself will free us from slavery to these sins. Okay, again, we're not perfect, but free us from slavery to these sins. So Romans 6:6 says, for we know that our old self, our old identity, was crucified with him so that the body ruled by sin might be done away with, that we should no longer be slaves to sin. Now, how this happens for weight loss is if you hold these negative identities, like I'm a sweet tooth, or I'm just a foodie, or I'm just the big guy, or I'm just lazy, or I'm a couch potato, or I'm a fat POS, your default actions will reflect this. You will eat all the sweets. You will binge on food because it tastes good. You'll overeat and undermove. You'll skip the gym and active things. You'll sit on the couch and skip the gym. You'll do what a fat POS does if you believe that that's who you are. Okay, that's why Romans 6 says, for we know that our old self, our old identity, was crucified with him. Crucified, implying that once it's dead, it also will be resurrected with Christ, as in you are never too far gone. And it's the rebirth of that new identity that will lead to the body, the unhealthy, overweight body that's currently ruled by sin, that's currently ruled by gluttony, laziness, sloth, overindulgence, that we should no longer be slaves to sin. Okay, that overweight, unhealthy body will be done away with, that you should no longer be slaves to sin, that you should no longer be restricted or held back or limited by the sins that has put your body in the state that it is. Now, if you adopt the positive identities that God gives you, because you're made in his image and likeness, that's Genesis 1:27. Like, I'm someone with discipline and self-control over my cravings. Like, I'm a food lover, but I don't deteriorate my health for dopamine and comfort. Like, I'm the fit, active, and healthy man who honors his body. Like, I'm a man whose body reflects discipline and drive. Like, I'm someone who enjoys relaxing, but certainly not lazy. Like, I'm the leader my loved ones need, and God created me to be. Then your default actions will reflect that. You'll indulge in sweets, but in a calculated and moderate fashion. You'll enjoy unhealthy food, but not to the point of overeating or binging on it. You'll eat the right amount of calories and protein. You prefer moving instead of sitting. You hit your workout and you get your steps in before lounging around. You go to the gym regularly. You'll be a healthy example for your loved ones. Okay? If you adopt these identities, if you crucify your old self, if you leave that old identity in the past, so that your body ruled by sin might be done away with, you'll no longer be slaves to that sin. And now that we have changed the identity, we can move on to step 2, which is to change your default actions. Now, here are the default actions that you actually need to strive for. Here's the tangible brass tacks. Here's the game plan. Okay, the first thing you need to do is get into a caloric deficit. This is the only cause of weight loss. Anything that claims to cause weight loss is just a Trojan horse for this principle, which is getting into a caloric deficit. Okay. This is why you lose weight on keto. This is why you lose weight on fasting. This is why you lose weight by cutting out tasty foods. This is why you lose weight on Weight Watchers. It's not because any of these fads has some specific, never discovered before secret that some random fitness guru influencer came up with and nobody else has figured it out. Okay. I mean, just think about the likelihood of that scenario. The reason that these work in the short term is because they cut out calories, period. Now, because they're done unsustainably, you can't maintain that caloric deficit, and so you gain the weight back. But at the end of the day, the first default action that you need to strive for is getting into a caloric deficit. The second default action that you need to strive for is getting in the right amount of protein. Okay, you don't need a perfectly dialed into the T macro split, but you do need a high protein diet. Okay, because protein is the building block of muscle. Without eating enough of it, you will always lack muscle mass, and lack of muscle mass means less calories burnt at rest, i.e. you have a slower metabolism. And a slower metabolism means it's harder for you to not only get the weight off, but it's harder for you to keep it off. Now remember, these are the brass tacks, but the only way you remain consistent with these is by changing your default actions through crucifying your old self, changing your identity. Okay, now continuing. Third default action that needs to be implemented is resistance training 2 to 5 times a week. Okay, resistance training is how you build muscle, not cardio. With resistance training, it can be done with a gym, a full gym, of course. It can be done with minimal gym equipment, with resistance bands, dumbbells, kettlebells, machines, cables, of course, medicine balls. It can also be done calisthenic style, right? With pull-ups, push-ups, dips, sit-ups, or any kind of mixture in between of that. Okay, so here's a picture again of myself and Mike Neville, 50 years old, down 37 plus pounds. I'm crushing these sit-ups, right? So this is how we were training when we were traveling for a retreat that we did for Default Kings, where we didn't have gym equipment, right? Cardio is not the ideal exercise option for sustainable fat loss because cardio generates only active calorie burn, but resistance trains generate passive and active calorie burn, okay, because you're building muscle. Now, before I get into why this works, here's a tweet from one of our guys, Andre Hagcal Jr. Andre, I love you, brother. Crushed it, lost about 21 pounds in 12 weeks when he did Default Kings. And he tweeted this out. He said, I ran a mile a day every day for almost 365 days and nothing changed. Then I joined Default Kings. And in less than 90 days, I'm down 15 plus pounds and in the best shape of my life. And it's been way easier than running. Thank you for your service. So how did this work? It's because cardio only gives you the active calorie burn. You only burn calories while you actively do the cardio. But when you lift weights, you're burning calories doing the weightlifting. And because you build lean muscle, that lean muscle burns more calories 24/7. And so you quite literally get the passive income version of calorie burn when you do resistance training. Okay, just a few numbers for you here. Somebody who is only doing active calorie burn exercises like running, let's say they naturally burn 2,000 calories, that's their metabolism. Let's say they actively burn 500 calories, that's their running. Then they totally burn 2,500 calories. Now let's say that they consume 2,000 calories. Their net calorie deficit is only 500 calories. Okay, these are going to be examples of people who are all consuming the same exact diet. So it's going to answer the question of how can that guy eat this and lose the weight easily, but I'm still, sucking. Let's say a guy's doing active and passive calorie burn for about 3 months. His natural calorie burn goes up to about 2,250 calories. His active calorie burn, just from doing the workout, is about 500 calories. His total calorie burn is 2,750. His total calorie consumption, same diet as the first guy, 2,000. His net calorie deficit is 750. He's losing weight faster, keeping it off easier. Let's go down to this example of somebody who has been doing passive calorie burn training, resistance training for 12 months. They're naturally burning 3,000 calories a day. They burn 500 calories just through the weightlifting. They totally burn in a day 3,500 calories. And let's say they eat the same diet as the guy who is doing all the running. They're in a net calorie deficit that is 3 times greater than the guy who is just running. Okay, because he has that muscle being built, that metabolism being boosted through resistance training. So this really here, when it comes to a workout standpoint, is the secret to lose the fat as quickly as possible, but also keep it off as easily as possible. All right, so those are the 3 default actions that you want to be implementing. You want to be making sure that you're in a caloric deficit, eating the right amount of protein, and resistance training 2 to 5 times per week. Now, step 3 is to change your reality. Okay. Remember, you reap what you sow. And your current reality is that you're 10 to 30 pounds or more overweight. You sowed it with negative default actions for the last few years or for the last few decades. And now you're reaping the reality of being overweight and obese and everything that comes with that. Right? There's an actual tangible consequence and price that we do have to pay for our sin here on earth. And the excess body fat that you currently have surrounding your organ systems is the physical debt for your spiritual sin of gluttony. All right. I know you may have not heard that before, but I'm just telling you what it is. Okay. You're currently reaping what you've sown. Now, this is exactly what Eric was experiencing. Eric's old reality was that he was 189 pounds and he was looking like this. And your future reality, okay, the high energy, high confidence, the living out the healthy life that God has intended for you, that is going to start by sowing positive default actions today, healthy default actions today. 12 weeks from now and beyond that, you'll be reaping the reality of being healthy, active, and the fit leader that you're called to be. Okay, so this was Eric's new reality. Lost that weight, built that muscle, went from this to this. Hope that is making sense. You reap what you sow, right? And so the best way to experience this reality 12 weeks from now and onward is to start sowing positive default actions today. All right, now, what is our 3-pillar system? Here is where we're going to get into the brass tacks of exactly how we help you do this. So pillar number 1 is the mindset shift. And in the mindset shift pillar, what we're going to do is give you lifetime access to our default action installation system. What this does is very important. It's the core of all the transformations that you see at Default Kings. This is the foundation. The Default Action Installation System is a video module course that outlines the biblical principles behind changing your unhealthy default actions so that you can finally stop doing all the stuff you know you shouldn't be doing and start doing all the stuff you know you should be doing. In other words, this is how you finally build positive default actions. So you have the consistency to get results that last for life. Okay, so this is pillar number 1. How this has gone for our guys is, for example, Nathan Dressler here showing the example and what happens when you build default actions. Alex Guerrera meeting us here, 35 pounds lost, stronger, confident, default actions. Kanan LMAO, actually lost weight and hit my lowest weigh-in on my trip with no tracking. I enjoyed all the food I wanted to eat, but was working out and walking a lot. I guess the default actions really do work. Default actions. Now, pillar number 2 is the results shift. Okay, what we do in the results shift is we give you 3 things. 1 is our custom Default Kings training protocol. 2 is our custom Easy Lean eating system. And 3 is access to our private coaching app. This custom Default Kings training protocol is hand-tailored to your needs so that you can train whenever you want, wherever you want, and for however long you want. Like Daniel, okay? He is showing here that he was completing 2 of the workouts that we made for him while he was on vacation. He's back home today. Lost 25 pounds while building this amount of muscle. Quite literally looks bigger and leaner while losing 25 pounds. You might have not even thought on the left that he had 25 pounds to lose, but we tend to overestimate that or underestimate that, I guess I should say. Anyway, here's him talking about that. It's going to allow you to lose weight while building lean muscle and strength, like Carlos, who is a Christian father and entrepreneur. I lost 27 pounds, and he said, this is 4 months in. I started this program 4 months ago at 31% body fat. And now he's at 15.9% body fat in 4 months. So quite literally half his body fat percentage, just about half his body fat percentage in 4 months. And then him showing here the PRs from his custom training protocol. PR on the dumbbell flat press, grab the 85s for 7 reps twice. That is some insane strength there for somebody in their late 40s. Now, the custom Easy Lean eating system. What this is it'll teach you to eat what you want without giving up your favorite foods or becoming a health freak, and you'll still lose the weight. Okay, so this is the exact system that I personally use while still going on dates, building my business, traveling. I'm in Canada right now at the time of this recording for this video. This is the exact system that I use because I love carbs, I love dessert, I love going on dates with my juice, love mamacita, and doing keto, carnivore, paleo, intermittent fasting, all the rest wouldn't exactly work for the busyness, lifestyle, and demand, and just the things that I enjoy. So what this is going to allow you to do is be able to eat out, be able to eat desserts, be able to have nice dinners while traveling guilt-free. So this is me and Joey, if you haven't met him yet, business partner, best friend, other owner of Default Kings. Smashing a calzone there, looking at all the people who think they have to cut carbs like they're, sad. Now, we're also going to give you access to our private coaching app. This is your GPS to lose the 10 to 30 pounds or more. And it's as simple as having 3 to 5 boxes to check each day that push you in the direction of your goal weight. So quite literally, it looks like this. This is one of our guys, Nick Fell, who lost 35 pounds in about 5 months, checking off those 3 to 5 boxes day to day. And the beautiful part of this, I want to remind you, is the consistency, is that he's turned these into default actions because of pillar number 1, okay? The mindset shift, the default action installation system that taught him the biblical process to be consistent. All right. But anyway, these are the day-to-day, boxes that he's checking, his nutrition goal, his calories that he is hitting, his protein goal, he's hitting his workouts that he's progressing in. Obviously, all of this stuff is on the app. And here's what it helped Nick do. It helped him go from 208 pounds in October of 2023 to 170 pounds on the day that I recorded the screenshot of this, which was a few days ago. So early April 2024. So that's 38 pounds lost in that time period. I don't think I need to explain any further on that. The training app, right? Let me go ahead and just close this real quick for you guys so that you can consolidate and understand and digest and see actually what is all involved. But there we go. Pillar number 2, right? Custom Default Kings training protocol, easily eating system, and access to our private app. Now, pillar number 3 is the sustainability shift. There's a few things here. Okay, we're going to give you lifetime access to our Lean Body Masterclass. This is where you learn to coach yourself. So you don't need us to hold your hand for the rest of your life. The Bible says that my people will perish from lack of knowledge. We want to give you the knowledge so that you don't perish on this journey, so that you can take full ownership of this area of your life and replicate the success that you've seen in other areas of life. Okay, so it's a video module course. You can see here that here are some of our modules. Obviously, this is a preview. And a cool stat about our educational material is that we've now coached almost 10 guys who have come through DK to start coaching their own clients who they become fitness coaches themselves. All right. Matt Fontaine is one of these guys. He says, thanks to Jack, Gabe, Joey, and the whole team at Default Kings. Because of them, I went from nearly 215 pounds to now a new low of 187 pounds. Now I'm able to perform ring muscle ups, and it's easier because I am lighter. Let's keep going. He currently actually coaches people after going through Default Kings. So obviously not that this is a goal for everyone, but what we're telling you is that we want to empower you with the knowledge to be able to replicate success in this area of life forever. That is what we want to do. We believe that if you know what you're doing and why you're doing, you can actually take full ownership over it because you have a higher perceived likelihood that you're capable of achieving and sustaining the outcome. And so you actually follow through. That's why we give you the knowledge. Now, onward, we give you exclusive access to our inner circle. This is the networking group of guys who are all currently being coached and all the guys who have formerly been coached. Okay, this is where iron sharpens iron and you get the external accountability that you need from other men who are going through this transformation with you. So changing your default actions is more of the internal accountability. The iron sharpening iron inner circle is more of the external accountability, right? A few of the men who are in DK. Matthew Larson sharing one of his wins in the inner circle. He says, down 7-8 pounds since I joined Default Kings at the end of March. This was a message that he put in the chat on April 6th. So within about a week. His first week down about 78 pounds. Josh Carr, who's a pastor and business owner, says, this has been a mega weekend for me with my church for obvious reasons. It's April 1st. This was Easter. He says, LOL, despite this and missing a workout, I managed to break through my last plateau and down 2 pounds this week. He's down about 15 pounds within a 6-week period, by the way, while running his businesses and and being a pastor at the church. Now, you're also going to get private access to our Inner Circle group coaching calls. This is where you will receive the hands-on support from myself and from Joey and the rest of our client success team every single day, Monday through Friday. And all the calls are actually recorded and uploaded when you join. You get lifetime access to our entire vault of recordings, and you can see every call from even before you're in DK and even after you finish DK. You get lifetime access to this in case you can't make the calls, right? Or make some of the calls, whatever it may be. They're all recorded for you. And here's kind of what that looks like here. One of our client success managers uploading the recording, talking about how to increase testosterone. Drew uploading one of the recordings on shoulder rehab. How long should you be resting between sets? Doing live form reviews of your exercises. Now you're also going to have a VIP support channel with myself and Joey. This is where you'll be receiving the intense one-on-one accountability and the check-ins, and ensuring that you change your default actions and see the long-term success that you're after. Okay, so one of our guys, Nick, here says, throughout my times in Default Kings, my mindset has been revitalized. I was once over 240 pounds, and I started the program and took control of my default actions. Everything changed. I'm now under 200 pounds and continuing to lose more weight and feel better than I ever have before. Stephen Osborne says, I've dropped 15 pounds of fat and I'm feeling strong and lean. I learned how to lift weights and eat well. I feel confident I can keep myself on track. I feel better at 45 than I did at 35. Okay. Brandon Fisher says, I can provide testimony that these guys are incredible. Young guys are changing my life. I'm about halfway through their program and building sustainable habits that will fuel my health and success for decades. Okay, by the way, this is Stephen, who was talking about how he couldn't make all the calls. Haven't taken full advantage of the group calls / message board that much, but I know I can reach out to you guys directly if I need anything, right? So that's the private one-on-one accountability chat with myself and Joe. You're also going to get a one-on-one client success specialist. So this is going to be one of our full-time guys who his entire focus is to ruthlessly hold you accountable to your goals so that you can change your default actions and navigate the inevitable roadblocks of life. The reasons that you might have fallen off the wagon in the first place, that you might be thinking of right now, like I got this trip coming up where it's about to get really busy, where I'm having a kid on the way, all those things he helps you navigate, right? Because there's no better time to figure out how to be consistent than these times, so that it's easier when life is easy and you can make it through when life gets hard again. Anyway, Chris Robinette started working with these guys a few weeks ago, and he finally broke past that 230 mark, first time since 2006. He said, you guys helped me unpack some head trash and set some tangible markets back in my life that I had been blowing off to chase the goals I really wanted, which is to live a long and healthy life free from disease and pain. This breakthrough right here is the first step of many to getting down to the ideal body weight and ideal workout routine. Ryan Black, good morning, coaches. I just hit 165.8 pounds. That's a loss of 26.2 pounds since I started this program 74 days ago. The best part is, even though I lost all that weight, I keep getting stronger. Can't wait to keep going and see just how great I can be. I'm going to kick some ass this weekend. Jeremy Jonenberg says, shout out to Chris for changing my program every couple of weeks to suit whatever I have. Chris is one of our client success managers. That is what we're showing you here. Okay. You're also going to get unlimited one-on-one coaching calls with these client success specialists. We don't believe in making you pay for sessions like, a personal trainer does, who just wants you to keep coming back. Your situation is obviously unique. In some cases that requires a ton of attention. And so we give you unlimited access to those one-on-one coaching calls with your client success specialist. Chris here, for example, right? So working through him on having a specific issue that Jeffrey had with his hip flexors, and working through what he had to do when he was sick. A few more examples here of just that interaction, that support. Okay. Now, what is the price? Okay. Let's go over the cost of inaction. As an entrepreneur and as a professional, you are losing money by not doing anything. Okay, indecision is a decision. And ask yourself, how much more money would you make if you had more energy? How much more money would you make if you had more confidence? If you were viewed with more respect from your prospects and clients? One of our clients, Patrick, here says, I feel comfortable traveling all day yesterday. Got approximately 13 million from client meeting in Miami. Powerlist and journaling definitely contributed to me hitting that goal and getting it done quickly. Okay. Another one of our clients here, perhaps really want to celebrate today that a student I've worked with previously is committed to working another 40 hours with me for her next board exam. He runs a tutoring business. So if you want to include in your promo material that your client just signed their own $10,000 deal, feel free. Kyle Cody talking about how I got a raise. You should actually try to quantify this in your mind, or else you will never care to change. Okay. Just like right now, let's just paint a picture here for quantity. In current market conditions, you need to have just under 700,000 cash invested at a 3% dividend yield return to net an additional $20,000 a year. Okay, the alternative to that is to invest less than 0.001% of that into your health and see similar or greater returns. Okay, let's say you're currently operating at a 50% energy capacity, 50% of the confidence you can have, 50% of the respect that you're capable of having. And let's say you're taking home bare minimum 100K a year profit. If you just boosted your confidence to 60% of what you could be, now immediately from that 10% increase, you could be making 120K a year just on those numbers alone. Now, if you have the capacity and God has gifted you with the ability and calling to make more than this, then these results just compound. If you boost your energy levels, confidence, and respect by more than 10%, these things compound. Okay, I can write out the numbers a little bit more for you, but I think that paints the picture. You also have to consider the cost as a husband or future husband. Okay, there's this common belief that has perverted and just really poisoned the minds of men in this world. And the belief is that she doesn't mind my belly, my health, my fat, right? Your wife might say she loves your body just the way it is, but if she had gained another 10 to 30 pounds or more since college, would you really have the courage to look her in the eye and tell her that you don't like the way that she looks? So why would you expect her to tell you? Okay. Unless you're married or you're with a woman that just doesn't care about your best interests, then she's going to support this decision in you being healthier for her, and you being having higher energy for her, and you having higher testosterone for her, and you looking better for her, and you looking like you actually belong next to her, and you giving her the best that you can give her because she's the daughter of the king placed under your care. And so, I mean, at least it's my belief that we should be giving her the best, right? Ultimately, the thing is that there's a massive benefit for her in you getting healthy and fit too. No wife or future wife is ever going to be angry about the man in their life having more energy, more confidence, being more attractive, having higher testosterone, or being an all-around better version of themselves physically and mentally. One of our guys here says, met with my wife after work. When I walked up, she said to me in front of others, how do you get older and get more handsome, better skin and muscle tone? Another one of our clients. Yes, sir. Even the fiance is noticing the big difference. Got a compliment at work about my arms, even. Things are looking up. Another one of our clients, Marcos. This is my personal favorite. Okay. Pastor in Orlando, name blurred out for obvious reasons. He says, BTW, my wife cannot get enough of me. She keeps grabbing my biceps while we make love, and I tell her, babe, I'm still sore from the workout. And she says, I don't care. They feel so good. I'm personally, at the moment of this recording, not married. But imagine the things. I'm just going to stop there. There's a few more examples here. Eddie getting a date with a beautiful woman. Anthony, girlfriend hugging him, says, it feels totally different to hug you. Luke, I'm excited to continue. I was just telling my wife how good I've been feeling, enjoying the gym, sleeping better, and more energy. He says she has already noticed. ... Fire, fire, fire. No idea what that could possibly mean. Ha, ha, ha. Now, here's the thing. The only time that a man ever receives resistance from his woman in making a decision that improves his health is if in the past you've told your missus that you're going to change, but you never actually followed through. Of course she doesn't trust you. You've given her 20 years potentially of reason not to trust you, not to take your commitment seriously, and not to believe in you. So how do we actually turn that around? The best way for you to gain back the trust of your wife or future wife is to make sure that she knows that you're serious about making a change by committing to something and actually following through this time. So really, this isn't about whether she supports your decision or not. It's if she trusts that you can be trusted, if she thinks that you're going to follow through. Because no amount of investment or energy spent on something that you're not really going to stick to would be worth it. But if it meant that you're going to be healthier for her, be there longer for her, be a better example to the kids, be better able to give her what she deserves, it's priceless, right? Daniel Cantor, he sends us this text that he sent his wife. He said to his wife, "A couple months ago, I promised to get in the best physical and mental shape possible. It's gotten better, but I promise to reach new heights in the coming months." His wife says, "I love you, sweetheart, and you'll never know how proud I am of you." Another one of our guys says, "At first, my wife was kind of blowing off the drastic changes in my diet. He was eating so bad for so long that she's like, what? You're not really going to do that, right? No real reason to make that investment. You're not going to follow through." He says that now she can see my commitment. She went grocery shopping a couple days ago. She called me and she was making sure I had meals and foods that I want/need. Okay, considering that a major goal, major step towards my end goal. And I want you to pick up on what's going on here. The lesson is that she will support you if she believes that you're going to follow through. And the best way to gain her support, the best way to gain her trust is like what my man did here, committing and following through. Okay. It's also important to understand that women want to be led. This is pretty self-explanatory, but the reality is that women don't want to have to be your mommy because you can't control your impulses and you can't make your own decisions. And you have to ask for permission for everything. They want you to be decisive. They want you to take action. They want you to lead. Here's what leadership actually looks like in action. Mike Neville. He sends this message. "Yes, definitely. With my family, I'm not as quick to become impatient. I'm happy to interact more meaningfully with them. I am inspiring my wife with some of my changes. My work is also improving and my clarity is no longer in haze. Definitely making waves with not only my leadership, but senior leadership." His wife sends him this text. "Down 10 pounds this morning. Hallelujah. It's a Christmas miracle." Text from my wife this morning. By the way, she did default Queens. Yes, that's a thing. But this is after he was started on his journey. He actually set the example by taking action, following through. Not just being a boss that nobody really listens to or respects because they say they're going to do one thing and don't follow it up with action. Continuing. I have so many more examples of this, but it's fine. You understand. Now, what's the cost as a father? Here's my personal experience. I grew up with a dad who was overweight and unhealthy. He put everything else before taking care of himself, and as a result, he was less capable of taking care of everything else. He eventually got diabetes, heart disease, and liver disease. He was hospitalized 16 times in 1 year. He lost his businesses. He lost his real estate. He was drowning in medical debt and unable to work. And this created familial resentment between my father and I. My dad could no longer provide and became a burden to our family. His wife, my mother, and my brothers, and I lost respect for him. He lost his sense of purpose, fell into depression, and attempted suicide. If that resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, go to my YouTube, watch this urgent message from a suicide attempt, a survivor. This is my father. Okay. Now, it took him getting to this point to make a change. He finally started exercising more, eating better. He lost 40 pounds. We healed our relationship after years of resentment through Christ. But I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, this is a son speaking here. There are still consequences that my dad deals with today, even after how far he's come. It is harder to reverse the damage that you've done after getting older. That's the reality. I'm not going to lie to you and say, "Oh, no, there's no problem, blah, 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 blah." If you drink my magic pill, it's just as easy as when you're 20 years old. No, it does get harder as you get older. And so this needs to be done now. Okay. Me and my dad still have to work on our relationship. Christ saves. Yes and amen. Christ redeems. Yes and amen. You were never too far gone. Yes and amen. But your actions have real painful consequences. And what you've done has already affected your family, whether you like it or not. So don't keep digging yourself into that hole. It is hurting them. I come speaking to you as a man who's been on the receiving end of that. Okay. Now, how's this gone for our guys? Anthony Scott threw the football around with my son today. My shoulder used to ache after a few minutes. Not today. We threw for at least an hour. No pain thanks to the progress in this program. That's why I came here. Jonathan Hancock, my 11-year-old daughter hugged me tonight and told my wife, "Daddy is getting skinny." How is this affecting you as a guy who just wants to live a long and healthy life? As healthy as possible. Well, let's just run the numbers here. Heart disease per year is going to cost, safe bet, $18.9K per year. Diabetes, safe bet, 12K a year. Cancer, from the overindulgence, overeating, and inflammatory response that you've given your body, 43K a year, conservative estimate. Surgery, unknown, depends on the surgery. Medication, 14-ish hundred a year, right? Lump sums, anywhere from 1,700 to 53K on heart disease, 13K to 47K bills, lump sums, out of the blue. Diabetes. Cancer, 5K to 200K plus bills, 15K to $1 million on surgeries. Running you anywhere from 75K a year on the conservative end, upwards of $1.3 million a year. So yeah, I mean, cost of inaction, just in the brass tacks layout for you there. The cost of other solutions is, let's just say you do a personal training, right? That's going to cost you $50 a session. Let's say you go 3 times a week, $150 a week, a month, $600 a month, a year, $7,200 a year. Okay. Dietitian, because the personal training only covers the workouts. I mean, what's really the bigger problem? More than likely, let's just be honest here. Let's say it costs you about $75 a session, $150 if you just do it twice a week, a month, $600, $1,700 a year. A life coach or an accountability coach of some kind, because you're going to need accountability. These people just give you the plan. $100, maybe twice a week, $800 a month, $9,600 a year. A men's group of some kind, accountability, again, external accountability, $100 a session, $100 a week if you go once a week, $400 a month. You're talking about spending, $28,000 a year on these other solutions. And if you hope to sustain this for, just 10 years, you're talking $280K, quite literally, if we just run the numbers and look at the actual math on what this could cost. Okay. Now, the investment that you're making into the best version of you, okay, the cost of DK. Number one, for a one-time payment, you're getting lifetime access to our Lean Body Masterclass, lifetime access to our default action installation system, lifetime access to our custom default King's training protocol. Sorry, not lifetime access on the custom training protocol. But you get your custom training protocol. You get your custom Easy Lean eating system. You get a private training app, lifetime access to the Lean Body Masterclass. The video modules are what you get the lifetime access to. Okay, so lifetime access to the default action installation system and the Lean Body Masterclass here. You get the default King's Inner Circle, of course. You get the Inner Circle coaching calls. You get lifetime access to the Inner Circle coaching calls Master Vaults. You get 24/7 access to your private channel with myself and Joey. You get unlimited one-on-one coaching calls. You get lifetime access to our alumni accountability group. Okay, and this is for a fraction of what you would be paying otherwise. All right, we also have a money-back guarantee. The money-back guarantee is that you lose 10 to 30 pounds in 12 weeks, or we refund you in full, as long as you follow our instructions and don't ghost us. We also have a weight loss warranty, which means that if you gain the weight back in the 12 months after working with us, we will refund you in full so that you can lose weight and keep it off. Okay. All you have to do for that is come to our monthly alumni accountability call or let us know that you watched the recording. Okay. Now, why do you have it set up this way? Because if you follow our instructions and don't ghost us, you'll lose the weight. And if you're an active alumni, the odds of you gaining the weight back are precisely 0. We're willing to put our money on that. And the best scenario here, the best and most likely case scenario here, is that you lose the weight and keep it off permanently. The worst and most unlikely case scenario is that you get through the entire program, you get through the whole process with hands-on coaching, you learn everything we have to offer, and you get a refund if it didn't work for you. Worst case scenario. What this all means is that there's precisely 0 risk for you. You either lose weight permanently or learn from us and our team for 12 weeks for free. The only thing guaranteed to not work is changing nothing about what you are doing right now. Now, your next steps, you have 2 options here. Option 1 is to keep doing what you're currently doing. Matthew 7:16 says, you will know them by your fruits. And so I'm not saying that your current strategy is just completely in every single possible way, just the opposite of what you should do. Because otherwise you'd be 600 pounds overweight. But your current strategy is only perfect for your current results. You will know them by your fruits. So you can continue to stay 10 to 30 pounds over fat or gain more weight. You can continue to lose money as a result of subpar professional performance. Ouch. You can continue to lose respect from your lady by not actually changing, even though you swore you would this time. Again, you can continue to have the kids wonder just how big daddy's going to get. Or for you future fathers, you can continue to set your future children up to inherit the same negative default actions that you have. Or option 2 is that you can book a free fat loss assessment. Okay. This is going to be a completely free 30-minute assessment where you'll meet with myself or Joey or one of the fat loss experts on our team and game plan exactly how we will get you to lose 10 to 30 pounds or more in the next 12 weeks using our default actions framework. Okay, best case scenario here is if you're a great fit for DK at the end of the assessment, we can get you started and implement immediately. Worst case scenario, if you're not a good fit for Default Kings, is we'll send you away with a game plan and a ton of free resources to help you move forward on your weight loss journey. You can book that assessment on our website if you haven't yet. Thanks for watching.